What's up, everybody? Welcome into your TBC Weekly. We appreciate you guys being here. We got to roll out, and I gotta give our guy Tyvis a shout out. I've been neglecting Tyvis. I really appreciate him showing up here every Sunday night to welcome us into the show, and it's truly an excellent display of his character. He's willing to do this every Sunday night, take time out of his day. So,
cheers to you, Tyvis.
My name is Tyvis Powell, former Ohio State Buckeye and national champion DB. Welcome to the Buckeye Cast. These guys was born and bred in the Buckeye State, and they like to talk Buckeye football and drink bourbon. Subscribe to the show. Now pour up a drink and pull up a stool. Here's your host, Joe Warwick. Get him, Joe.
appreciate you, Tyvis. I will get them. And we should follow Tyvis's advice and really talk some shit tonight. We got a lot of things to get into. Kind of a potpourri show because it smells good. Well, it might not smell real good, but we're going to talk about a few different topics here. We got Shawn joining us a little later. Who knows what's going on in his world that he's late for, but I'm sure he'll be sober. As if.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
He just went all in with pocket nines, Joe.
Oh, nice.
It's on a heater.
Yeah, he's always on a heater, one way or another. So I'm just finishing up some notes here. So we appreciate everybody being here. Please help us hit our goal. We only got like 6 weeks to go. 3,000 subs by week 1. We really need your help. We've put a large dent into that, but we're barely at almost 2,200. We got 800 more to go. We really need like 100 per week, maybe a little bit more. So appreciate everybody liking, subscribing, sharing, loving, touching, feeling. So thank you for all that.
Look at the baby. Look at the baby.
Yeah. So Bourbon Talk, Jeff, what do you got? You got some Taylor in there too, you said?
Yeah. Like I was saying to you, after about 66 hours in the sun this week, Colonel E.H. Taylor to the rescue.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Nice. Oh, well, we gotta address the chat real quick because we got some important things in here. Billy's in. Temper. Corey, what's up, Corey? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you. Daniel back in. Appreciate you. Billy says, "What's the depth chart on your bourbon collection?" Well, let's say.
Let's see.
Go ahead, Jeff. Give me your depth chart.
My too deep? You know, we got. I'm not. I mean, I'm low key. I mean, you're talking. The host here is on a different level. I'm the younger brother, remember, so I'm behind. My top, my starters, Eagle Rare. I got the Colonel. The Sazerac Rye, I think, is fucking dynamite. Castle and Key, some Buffalo. Got a bottle of Pendleton whiskey from a customer of mine. Nice little bottle though. Got some Rabbit Hole High Gold. That's my my second, my too deep. Yeah. But Taylor, Eagle, Buffalo is about to.
So who's your starting quarterback? Who's QB1?
I like this Taylor. Yeah. E.H. Taylor, small batch.
Okay. All right. And who's your QB2?
QB2? If we're going Buffalo's more like a ham and egger.
Like a tight end.
But solid, yeah. He's a Cade Stover.
Tackle.
I tell you what, though, my backup, it might be that Rabbit Hole High Gold, the blue label.
Right.
So it's a really nice bottle.
Yeah. I've tried the what was the Pendleton?
The Pendleton whiskey. It's like, Western whiskey.
I've had that. I've tried it, and I've tried the Rabbit Hole. those two didn't register with me. But
the Pendleton is just like it's a drink. If I'm mixing anything, they get the Pendleton. It was like I said, it was a bottle as a gift.
Right.
But it's good. It's good. It's good with that on rocks too. I mean, it doesn't. It falls behind some of the bourbons, but
yeah. So to give you my depth chart, I've been thinning out the supply. So I've been using up some of the deeper part of the bench. So like my third tackles, my third guards, they've been used up. So my QB1 is 12-year Pappy. QB2, well, no, I think my 10-year Pappy is probably wide receiver 1. That's a wide receiver 1.
Sure. Yeah.
Doesn't get the passes that a wide receiver 1 really gets, but excellent nonetheless. Eagle is probably my RB1. That's a guy that's going to get plenty of reps during the week, reliable. But then daily, like my center or my left tackle, your go-to that's there every play, probably is Buffalo. And I'm running through that 6-bottle package of Buffalo I got. I'm running through that pretty quickly, but I just worked out really hard a bottle of 4 Roses. I think it's a single barrel. That stuff's pretty good.
I like 4 Roses. You see, and it's available everywhere. You see it. Right. You see it everywhere.
It's good quality shit. So that's what I'm working on. I really don't have a too deep on defense. Usually that means you're in a bad spot.
I wouldn't even know how to put that together.
Yeah.
Well, so
I drink more vodka
than
bourbon.
So my bourbon collection is the Northwestern to your bourbon collection, the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
And we're we're over here in Northwestern and Indiana. All these shitholes are looking up there like, well, of course, your 10-year Pappy is your fucking number 1. Oh, you got the 12-year too? Oh, right. Do you? Eagle Rare is your fucking RB1, is it? Well, I'm down here with the fucking Pendleton.
Yeah, well.
So
that's
there
why
it is,
it's
folks.
Deeper on your bench. You got to build up your bench, and
I hope we got the question answered.
Yeah, I think we worked that out pretty good. So I got to address this in the chat about Carnell Tate's mom. We're not going to dwell on it, but yes, rumors are she did die last night. So thoughts and prayers to Carnell and his family. There's nothing I can say here, and I don't want to dwell on it because it's not our business. So
correct.
All we can do is think about them and hope for the family to heal whatever that means for them. So that's as deep as I'm going to get on that. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. There's no transition out of that. I'm sorry. I just wanted to address it because it's already popping up everywhere in the chat and stuff. So I appreciate you guys bringing it up. We'll just
no more.
Have to keep it moving though. It does no good for us to speculate, dwell on it, or anything else. So
no, I won't be a part of. I won't be a part of that conversation. Any conversation of speculation at all.
So coming up, we got Big Ten Media Days, July 26th. That's only 10 days away. Then camp starts right around August 1st or 2nd, something like that. But Jeff, I really want to get your take on the Northwestern weenie car wash, or maybe the naked quarterback center exchange is going on in the locker room. Do you have any thoughts on how that might look?
How it might look? Jesus. That report was something. I mean, that was
wasn't it?
Hard to take in. I mean,
that's what she said.
Hard to take in. I know. In
this case,
I'm right. It sounded more like he said. I'm falling right into him. I can't imagine being around that atmosphere, and it being passed on from classes to class as a tradition, or is this just a group of deviants that they had in the program currently? But it sounded like this shit was from years ago. I mean, it's been.
You think old Fitzy maybe installed these techniques?
He might have been the fucking frat bro that wrote the rules back in '94. Who knows? I mean, the way how he was implemented, and they say like he would sometimes in practice, with the clapping or whatever to let the older players know.
It is peculiar.
That's super odd. And my personal take, and this that you can. If you ever heard me talk about Rick Pitino, it'd be the same thing with the hookers and the dorms. If you say you didn't know and you had no knowledge of, you're still fired for not fucking knowing that something that important is going on at your university that you are the face of. And he's the prodigal son, All-American, biggest name they've ever had. If you had zero knowledge of this, you're fired for being incompetent. Either way, right? I see that. That's the only way I see it. So you're telling me you either what did Rothstein say to the fucking kid in Casino? You're either in on it, or you're
too stupid to realize it's happening. Yeah.
Either way, you're fucking out of here. That's how I feel. It's disgusting, man. I can't believe that is like the sexual nature of it. Just I don't know. It's gross, shocking, and gross.
What year is this? Is it the 1980s in Northwestern and it's 2023 everywhere else?
No, I mean
this hazing shit was like long gone.
And these were athletes that tried to form a union, a couple years back. You know
10
what I mean?
years
They
ago,
had some legitimate leadership. I don't know. I can't believe
naked quarterback and center exchanges in their locker room. No thanks.
And they say coaches try to stay out of the locker room because it's the players. And fuck that. If you that is a team wide. That is 100 people knowing about this. You telling me 12 more guys don't know about it? When all 100 and some of them students are.
How about the assistant coaches, man?
Yeah, the trainers, somebody. There's other people outside of the football players that have seen this or knew it was happening. Like down the hall, they just didn't want to watch or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But nobody like that. I don't know. Years go by, and that blows my mind. And a kid and kids taking it or not taking it, but
they're taking it all right.
but still being willing to, I guess, forcibly participate. I just can't. I mean, I don't know, man.
It's fucked up.
I never saw the interest in joining a fraternity, and that was only one little thing I thought about was I'm not gonna fucking do something just because you say so. If I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it just to be a part of what you're a part of because that doesn't make me want to be a part of it. I would think maybe that's why but kids, I don't know. It's weird, man. It's fucking weird. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Exactly. It's kind of mind-blowing how that is still happening to this day at a real big I know it's not a huge institution. I know it's private, but this is
a big name university
football, though. Man. So that makes you wonder how many head coaches are looking at their people and saying, okay, is any of this shit going on here? Because we got to talk about it now.
And the school paper is great because, Northwestern is a legendary journalism school, right? Half the people we read on the internet or see on TV are out of Northwestern.
Even the bad ones.
The school, yeah, right. Most of them. I'm not a fan of most of them. But great journalism, right? And the school papers were fucking pit bulls on this and snuffed it all out. But they were going for the story. I don't know. It's just it's fucking odd. And you can't tell me that people didn't know about that outside of those football players. You cannot. And if they knew about it, it got to the head coach because if somebody thought it was an issue to say something, you take it to Pat Fitzgerald. if you think something's going on that you don't like or you think is wrong and you need it should be stopped, you go to the head coach. Hey, coach, we got a problem in the locker room. I know I'm just a trainer, but they're making these kids do better.
I'm more concerned about the assistant coaches, like the staff. You know, I know
when they all get to stay, everybody gets to stay, right?
Right, but the defensive coordinator's only been there since January,
right?
So maybe he didn't see anything yet.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he didn't. But he's
7 months later.
Yeah, he's like, fucking nice hand I got dealt right here.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely screwed. That guy's going to last this year and probably lose his job.
South Dakota State 8 months ago.
Yeah, so
now he's head coach.
Yeah, that's disgusting. This program.
I mean, if Fitzgerald, they fire Fitzgerald because that's the name. That's what they have to do. But all of assistant coaches, because we can't have a football team in shambles like it's not going to be already. You know, they're not good anyways. But they kept all the other assistant coaches. So all the people that were more involved in it. Yes.
Yeah, that were more aware of the issue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the other thing is it's why. I don't know, man.
What's the chat saying? What are these guys? What are people out there thinking?
Let me get in there and look.
They can't be much far. They can't be off base from where we're at. They can't be too far away.
Yeah,
there's pretty much one way to go on this. I mean, you can veer a little, but there's only one road really to take.
Billy's bringing the jokes tonight. I love it. Billy says the recruit came into Northwestern as a tight end and left as a wide receiver. Sorry, had to make the joke. It's a good one, Billy.
Damn. Thank you. Yeah.
I can't be the only one writing this material. Timper says we've been in that type of scandal before with the team doctor. Yeah. Billy says Northwestern would seem to be the last school to do that stuff. That's what I was thinking. I mean, it's like if maybe this shit did happen at Notre Dame. Did this happen at Notre Dame? Seems like the smaller the school, the more private the school, the more likely that weird shit goes on there, right?
Yes,
Ohio State, you got too many eyeballs, too many people around. It's a big time program,
big time city.
Yeah, that too. It's just, I can't picture anything else. I don't know. I just can't picture this happening at a big time program. And again, it shows you, even though Northwestern is in the Big Ten, they're still small potatoes. They're still small time, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't care about how many admission, how many enrollees they have or whatever, as a school, still shows you that there's still that kind of, small college town or protected almost environment.
More the college than the university.
Yeah.
I usually think of colleges as more like, the smaller, tighter, people know each other type.
And Fitzgerald, he's been getting a pass for years. I don't think he was that good of a coach, especially the last 4 or 5 years. I don't know what the fuck he's done to get. I understand being an All-American when he played.
Oh yeah,
he's head coach for like 17 years, but most of those years were not great, Bob. So anyway.
A lot of they were up and he would have 2 strong, 2 really shitty. Like he was really high and low. I don't remember Northwestern being real steady. They would have those years when they had popped. 2020 was it? When we played them. 2018 too. Right. But then they fell right back off the cliff after those 2 Big Ten appearances. So I mean, he has those big ups and big downs. But he can't. And that's just he nails on some recruits. They put some people in the pros. But yeah, you're right. I don't think he was anything special. He was just secure. He was security for them. They had their guy. It worked. Everybody was happy.
They won 4 games in the last 2 years total. 2 games in conference. He won 2 games in 2 years in conference. That's horrific.
Yeah. Well, And there was no pressure. You heard nothing about any rumblings in Northwestern or any talk or hot seat or anything like that.
No,
After that kind of record, because it's fucking Fitzgerald. It's our guy.
Exactly.
We just need to keep him. As long as we're not in the fucking headlines for any scandal, he's fine. He's perfect for us. Oh shit, there's a scandal. Well, now what are we gonna do? And they botched it, but they're new. The president and the AD are newer, so they weren't around for a lot of this either. But they mishandled it. I mean, their PR people or whoever their staff, because they come out early with a 2-week vacation. Suspension in late July. What's every other coach doing right now?
That was like the highlight. That was like the big flashing neon sign. There's an issue here when they give him a summer, 2-week vacation basically on
right.
Vacation.
It's just you're so quick to that, and then you're like, oh, the journalist found all the information that we had. Oh shit. Oh, we got to rethink this. Like, why jump to that little 2-week bullshit suspension, hoping it's going to blow away? You forget what school you're at. Yeah. It's more known for its writers than it is your football players. I mean, it seems like they just completely backfired. It seems obvious to me that they thought they could if they could secure it or quiet it, smother it, give them the 2 weeks, it blows over, we go moving past it. Then the journalists got a hold of everything. They worked and got the reports and everything. And now they had to rethink it because it was such a bullshit suspension. They had to immediately rethink it, but you look like an idiot at that point. Like nobody was going crazy for an answer right away. So we need to continue our investigation. You can delay it as long as you fucking want. Yeah.
Exactly. All right,
but I think they knew about it. Anyways.
Yeah. So let's. Shawn's not in here yet. Hopefully Shawn gets in here because I want to get him in on this topic. We're going to talk about positionless football on defense, but Shawn wanted to really talk about it. So we're going to wait till he joins. For now, let's talk about a little bit of recruiting. So to give you guys the lay of the land going forward, dead period ends. There's a brief period where the dead period dies. And so unofficial visits are allowed, unofficial. You can't get an official. Schools can't pay for kids, although people are getting paid to take unofficial visits. You need to be aware of this. It's not published, it's not spoken about, but it's a thing. Dudes are getting paid whether to take the unofficial visit or they get paid when they get there, not necessarily from the school. I'm not saying they're getting the old Jeremy Pruitt McDonald's
I was just gonna say that was one of Tennessee's infractions, paying recruits on
this is not that. So
him and his wife.
Yeah. So unofficial visits are allowed July 25th to the 30th. So 9 days from today.
4 or 5 days
through the 31st. So that entire last week of July. And then the Buckeyes have a recruiting event set up for July 28th. I believe that is the Friday. Yeah, Friday, the last day of the month. They're calling it Summerfest in the Shoe. Summerfest in the Shoe, July 28th. So that Friday. We know Michigan is doing I don't know.
Fucking barbecue
on the grill
thing, right?
On the 31st, on the 30th, in the big house. So just to give you the kind of layout of what's happening. So you're going to see some guys, and these are going to be key visits because these are being paid for allegedly by the players. So
wait, so where'd you hear this from, Joe?
This is real. This is factual. Which part?
I mean, these recruits, like it's already known these recruits coming are getting paid.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Jesus, but can you imagine that talk when when they get here? Like, how much did you get? Oh, I didn't get nothing. What'd you get? Oh, I got 10 grand or 20 grand, whatever the number. That's gonna sour a kid real quick. You know what I mean? If he finds out he didn't get paid, and a dude that maybe in the same position as him is getting paid to visit.
Right.
Think about that.
Yeah.
That could turn the guy off to Ohio State immediately.
Yeah, I mean, cash in the hand is more than two in the bush or something like that.
You can't. I mean, these kids. These kids are all going to talk. They all talk. So you can't. I don't see how that's a winning formula. Paying some of them and having other kids you're not paying at the same visit. They're going to. You got to imagine how that's going to play out with a kid that doesn't get any money.
Well, I don't know. I can't really compare that because maybe some kids don't need it, where other kids are willing to take every single dollar they can get their hands on. Every situation is different, but I would say
the kids in general,
right? And Ohio State has these. So as part of the recruiting board, I would call it, Ohio State has NIL values associated with each player. You know how On3 has their valuations for each player? Well, Ohio State has something similar. And they're like saying, this is what we're willing to pay for this guy. And if a school comes over the top, like Miami for Marquise Lightfoot last week or 2 weeks ago, then so be it. Let's move on to the next one, invest our money there, accordingly. Yeah. So
they have these evaluations. I'd like to see the formula of how the evaluations are gathered and calculated. That'd be interesting. That would be an interesting read or interview to learn about that.
Yeah, they're never going to share that, but it would be cool because everybody has a different value, and if people learn their value to the university, probably would not go over well with the guys that were not high value guys.
But I mean, but these kids looking at those evaluations on the On3. I'm sure On3's got popular by the high school kids.
Probably their starting point.
Yeah, like that. Look at my number. Look at that number. They're bragging their friends and they're texting other recruits like, "Hey, yo, they say I'm worth $50,000 more than you or whatever."
Exactly.
I'm sure there's a lot of that.
Yeah. So. But this 2024 class that is currently committed to the Buckeyes, they are working really hard for the Buckeyes to recruit these the next commits, and we do have some silent commits in there. It's just we've had silent commits just in this class that did not work out for us. So coming up, I'm going to run through the list real quick. Still kind of waiting for Henry to get on, and hopefully we'll get into our offense too deep. And we want to talk positionless football. If he doesn't get on tonight, maybe we'll try and force him onto the rush hour soon to get him because he had some opinions on that. So quickly, recruiting 2024 targets. The schedule lays out like this going forward. The 21st, that is Friday. So next Friday, we got Edwin Spillman, the linebacker from Tennessee, making his decision. He's down to Tennessee and Ohio State. Then Saturday the 22nd, we got Corian Gibson, the corner/safety. He is choosing between Clemson, Ohio State, and Texas. Clemson seems to have the edge there. Then on Sunday, the 23rd, we got the 4-star linebacker out of California, Kingston Viliamuasa. So a week from today, we might be partying on that. He is, I think, just an Ohio State USC battle here. Notre Dame, I think, is probably out of the mix.
Yeah, it probably fell off.
Yeah. Then the 4-star corner, Aaron Scott, down to Ohio State, Michigan, and maybe Oregon, July 30th. So the week after Kingston. So 2 Sundays in a row there, we might be dancing on the ceiling.
2 very high 4-stars, right?
Yeah, very much. Then the 5-star safety, KJ Bolden, August 5th. That recruitment seems to fluctuate day to day.
Yeah, but that's why I was nervous about it.
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
He still has the 4 crystal balls to Georgia, but Alabama is a heavy hitter in that one, and the Buckeyes are not out of it at all. Then the 5-star D lineman, Edric Houston, August 22nd. That's his birthday. he is down to Ohio State, Georgia, Bama, Clemson, USC. I think it's really Ohio State and Bama there. And he is thinking about coming in this last week of July for an unofficial visit, whether it's the day of the 28th for the Spring Fest and the Summer Fest or whatever.
And it makes me think that maybe, hey, he's like, hey, maybe I got nothing going on this weekend. Maybe let's go pick up a bag in Columbus,
Yeah.
If if the money's right. Yeah. Maybe, coach, you got $20,000 for me? Cool. Yeah, I can make it this weekend. You know what I mean? I would hate to see situations like that arise. I'm not saying that about this kid and, specifically, but, just pitfalls of what we were talking about earlier. But yeah, I think he's the number 2 recruit, number 2 most important recruit in the business class next to Aaron Scott, as far as the Buckeyes needing to have to feel really good about the cycle, their performance, because these are 2 players that we should not lose.
Right. So then we got the recruits that haven't set a date yet. Jeremiah McClellan today, the 4-star receiver out of St. Louis, announced a top 5: Ohio State, Oregon, LSU, Missouri, and Georgia. He's been flirting a lot with Oregon, taking multiple visits there. So the question is, does he visit Oregon this last week of July on his own dime, allegedly, supposedly? Does he show up there, though? Because that will tell you something, whether he's getting paid or not.
Sure.
That'll tell you his priority. But he doesn't have a decision date, so keep that in mind.
So likely he would be passing up money from somewhere else if he went to Oregon.
Maybe, yeah. But to me, it more importantly tells you where his interests lie,
Yeah.
Then we got the 5-star DN Dylan Stewart, crystal balls to the Buckeyes. Gave OSU his silent commitment during his visit. That supposedly hasn't changed at all. And the Buckeyes are in line on the NIL front. So looking at an early August commitment date, not as a hard date yet, but probably an early August announcement. The question is, again, right there, same situation as Jeremiah McClellan. And that is, does he show up on South Carolina's campus for a late July visit? That tells you something, So another one to keep a close eye on. Then you got the 5-star corner, Kobe Black, out of Texas. He has fall visits scheduled to Bama, LSU, Texas, and has Texas A&M has crystal balls to Texas. So none to Ohio State, no visits scheduled at all. Let's see what happens there. So by him scheduling these fall visits during the season, it tells you that he's not making a decision probably till December,
Yeah, signing day. Probably.
Don't hold out on that. 5-star O-lineman Brandon Baker, unpredictable kind of guy. We have no idea what's happening there. 5-star O-lineman Gerby Lambert seems to be a strong Notre Dame lean. Another crystal ball just came in yesterday, I believe, for him to Notre Dame. 4-star D lineman Dominic McKinley. I've pretty much written this guy off. He's a strong Louisiana LSU lean. So, and then the 5-star Aiden Breland, a D lineman from Mater Dei as well. He's a real long shot. He seems to be an Oregon Duck, the way it looks right now. Any takes on those guys?
Well, I mean, Aaron Scott, we got to have another DB. You have to say his name again. The linebacker from California. I look forward to saying his name, learning his name.
Kingston. Call him KVA.
Kingston. KVA. Yeah. So KVA looks like it's strong lean. I mean, what's our number at right now, Joe? 18? Yeah.
Yeah, we are at 18.
Okay, 18. And, I think there's legitimately 7 of those guys we have a chance at. I think you mentioned that that we should get or it's going to be close. I don't think we can get all 7, man, but we got the room for all 7. They would, if they could land all those guys, or the main 7 you talked about, say, and go with the 20, that makes it a 25-man class.
I think that's bare ass minimum 25. Yeah.
Well, then obviously in a perfect world, that plus whatever the guys they got on the side, they kind of waiting, the fillers of the class. But that would be a hell of a haul if they add that to what we have now. That with Dylan Stewart, out of Houston, all of those guys, not the long shots you were talking about, but the rest of them. Right. I mean, that's a number 2, number 1 class.
Oh yeah. Yep. Exactly. So even with the guys that haven't set a date yet, I see 2 locks in there, in my opinion, maybe 3. We'll see. But then you got guys that are still trying to schedule out their visits for the fall, like the 4-star linebacker / DN Booker Pickett Jr. out of Tampa Wharton. He is a real option for the Buckeyes.
Yeah. Uncle
was Ryan Pickett, for first-round draft pick by the Rams, played 14 seasons in the NFL. This kid had 56 tackles last year, 30 sacks in one season in high school ball, and 16 TFLs on top of that.
And that's Tampa. That's Tampa City League, right?
Tampa Wharton, yeah, it's high end. That's a private school.
Oh, private school. Okay, I didn't know if that was like one of the Tampa Plant or something like that. But yeah, they're playing good competition. There's good football over in that Tampa Fort Myers area. There's a lot of talent. But so, he's legit.
He says he's going to schedule a visit for the fall. He had a visit back in April for the spring game. So he said he is going to schedule a Buckeye visit for the fall. I assume that's going to be an official visit. So he's really getting started on, hasn't even really started his college visitation, time period yet. So
we'll probably a signing day guy.
Yeah, probably a December commitment date. His dad played at Miami, but he's also taken 3 visits to Florida State. So I had him staying in Florida, but now I'm starting to feel a little better now that he said he's actually going to schedule a visit to Columbus for the fall. And let's see if he follows through with that soon, and if he gets up there. A lot of moving parts between now and then.
Sure. But there's a lot of time too. Exactly. Like some of those guys, like Kobe Black, some of those other guys, the way they're kind of telling you without telling you. Look, this decision's coming when I'm gonna have a 3 o'clock on ESPN live, tune into my gymnasium type, get the curtains and the cheerleaders out and everything. Yeah. So you got time. So that means there's time, build relationships and stuff like that.
Right.
But it does seem like more and more, a lot of the top kids, you look at the top 25, a lot of them are getting that commitment out of the way and given that strong verbal, prior to them starting their season. It seems like there was more it seemed over the past maybe 15 years or so, since I've really been kind of following recruiting, it was always, there's a lot more guys at the end. It was like signing day, was like a big day where it's a lot of guys were almost all the 5-stars were announced in that day. There was no, this guy's been committed to so-and-so for, since the junior year.
The change in the recruiting calendar has really changed the visitation schedule. And so now people are taking visits in the summer versus, late fall, early winter.
And getting it all the way for the chance of maybe joining, leaving high school early. So you're right. I see what it all has come into it. But it's recruiting has definitely changed the clock, and I don't agree with the clock in total.
But Ryan Day said the other day on Joel
it's a monster
podcast
right now
that he doesn't want to change it again. He wants to give things 3 to 4 years to see how other things evolve with it.
It's smart man.
Unintended consequences are going to come with it.
Of course. That's a very smart outlook because you don't. Let's try to figure out how to. It might be shitty right now, but let's figure out how to manage shitty, or maybe we learn something else and something else makes it better. But I get it. Yeah, you don't want to just because then you learn the rules as a coach and staff, and now you have to take all the rules to all these kids, and there's got to be an intermediary that explains to the kids what the new rules. It's just that'd be a fucking mess.
Yeah.
So try to figure it out. Ryan Day, it's a very smart take. Nice part.
Let's pop in the chat here, see what's happening. Oh, Travis. What's up, Travis? Travis came to us from Kings Island the other day. How was Kings Island, Travis? Hope you had a good time. Travis says that shit feels dirty to me. Yeah, the whole Northwestern thing does feel dirty. Hummus Hero is back in. What's up, Hummus Hero? We're talking about the replacement for Pat Fitzgerald being the new DC. We talked about that. He's been in since January.
Never coached at a Power 5 school. Hasn't, and now he's the head coach of a Big Ten school.
But at least he won't be coaching at one this year either. So
it won't feel like one.
Ease himself into the process. Billy says only 6 defensive recruits, though. Yeah, I know this is the way the Buckeyes operate, though. You know this. A thin board, but they put all their efforts into fewer guys instead of going, spraying the entire field like Michigan does. I mentioned this before, like Michigan throws out over 300 offers every class. Buckeyes do less than half of that, like 130 per class. And then they go all in on those relationships, and start building on that versus, like I said, Michigan just willy-nilly mailing out.
And other schools, not just Michigan.
I think I got an offer from Michigan sitting in my mailbox right now. Fuck you guys. Let's spit on your offer. But anyway.
There's a lot of schools that participate in that, Joe, too. That fucking machine gun, just spray it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Michigan's not the only ones. It's just fucking stupid, though. Like, you're not investing. There's no fucking way you got eyeballs on these 300 kids other than maybe watching their high school tape. You hired enough interns. All your interns have been watching tape.
They're taking who out of the 300 or so who shows interest. And then they're after the fact, oh hey, this kid did. Let's check this, make sure, let's look at this kid.
Yeah, how many of those offers are committable? None.
I mean,
probably.
Well, see, we don't know the innards of how they do their, when they get them in visits and stuff. But I bet the schools down south probably do it a lot too because they don't mind oversigning, and they, that was a main practice, for years, decades. Just fuck it, sign 29, 32, whatever. But.
Yeah. Hummus Hero says, I hope we don't get left at the altar by the 2 5-star D linemen. Seen that story before. Yep. But NIL is in a much better place than a year ago. Please keep that in mind. And you can rest easy at night knowing that. I'm not saying that every commit is in the bag, so to speak, pun intended. But we are in a much better place where we're not just getting outbid for every dude. Same with like Marquise Lightfoot, for example. Miami flat out outbid the Ohio State collectives for him. And that's fine. Like I said earlier at the beginning, Ohio State has these values set to each guy. This guy's worth this much, 100,000. This guy's worth this much, 75,000. And they have a board like that. And then the collectives, that's definitely being shared with the collectives to some degree. And it's a matter of, okay, it's smarter to just let this one guy go to Miami when we can get 2 5-stars guaranteed on the D line, You understand it. It's just, weighing your options and your budget, and what you're willing to pay. Why overpay for a loaf of bread when you can go and get a better loaf of bread for the same price or less? So anyway, Billy also says we might have to unveil college football's first ever 2-2-7 defensive formation, the way we've been recruiting D-line lately. Yeah, I don't know about that.
You're really daring a team to run.
Yeah, you will get run the fuck over, that's for sure. So
that's a pretty easy audible.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you don't mind losing a couple games a year, then yeah, play the 2-2-7. That's fine. But I would say, and this falls into our positionless defense conversation. I'm trying to hold off, but Henry's not obviously coming in tonight, so we're gonna have to move on without him, Jeff, and just go right into our two deep. We'll save the positionless defense conversation from when Shawn can get on, but Jeff, you want to go ahead and kick it off with the two deep on offense, starting with the quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, Cal McCord, I don't think anything's changed since the last time we've seen those guys. I think it's Cal McCord and Devin Brown.
Yeah, exactly.
For all the reasons we've been talking about. I mean, because for all we know, we've heard nothing good or bad from any of them. So I would just assume that they're both still, doing their work and everything, and Kyle's still in the lead.
Yeah, Brown is
I think he
back
opens camp
from his
lead,
injury.
Yes. Yeah, so. And Devin, Devin's probably should be 100% being able to throw the ball just fine. So he's getting good work in. So, the job's not given to him yet, and I don't think the coaching staff is completely closed off. They probably are legitimately still wanting to see Devin healthy. If he can really make a push, how much work did he do this summer? And, how much is it going to translate once we go full go? So, but I think, McCord, like we've said since we've first talked about this, we both feel that McCord was in the lead. He's unless he does something to lose it.
Exactly. So, but the battle's going to continue into fall camp, but I would expect,
as it should, yeah.
I would expect an answer, a final decision by second week of fall camp, like say the 19th of August.
Yeah, I would say
that gives you 2 weeks.
After a week of camp, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the coach is like, okay, they're probably seeing enough different situations to say, yeah, Kyle needs to be a starter, or one, or whoever, or Devin's moved past him. Look at what he's done just in this 1 week. But yeah, I think they want to have that decision, because then you start getting into game planning, and you really want to, I'm sure Ryan Dates really wants to zero in on that quarterback and start really, one-on-one with him. So I would say, because they're going to want to nail it. Everybody in the team's going to want to know. It's going to. You don't want it to become, a topic in the locker room and stuff like that, because you're playing out this decision. You got to know. At that level, that coaching staff, they got to know by weekend. In my opinion, you make a decision, feel strong enough. You got to have some conviction about your decision. But if you don't, then it's partly your fault if you don't, because you didn't get one of them to that level. So it's, looking in the mirror too.
Yeah,
I have conviction.
So, hey, never convicted on no dope.
Actually, that's false.
That's not false.
Bullshit.
Never convicted. Look up my background. Never convicted on no dope.
Got that expunged, huh? All right. So let's continue on. Shawn, you want to hop in on the two deep for the offense, quarterback position?
Yeah, Devin Brown.
There we go.
You heard it here first.
So it was interesting, and I apologize for being late, but one thing that you put out there, that text that you sent earlier, Joe, is Ohio State, what was it, 43 or 46 in the quarterback rating, right? Which seems absolutely, like you said, absolutely ridiculous. Right. To me, in my head, I also agree, looks ridiculous. But then I start to think, like I'm wont to do. And I feel that is out there for a couple reasons. The first glaring one that I'm sure you guys talked endlessly about is that we don't have any quarterbacks that have anything on tape. We've got a couple guys been in the system, high rated guys, blah, blah, blah. To me, I'm wondering if, because of some of the things that we've discussed on this podcast, is because McCord hasn't taken that position, hasn't wowed anybody, hasn't solidified himself, and it's still at this point, as far as I know, unless something's changed, a completely open competition. There's not an Ohio State quarterback as of yet. And so that, to me, that uncertainty, that we haven't put the full faith in McCord or Devin Brown or whoever that may be, that uncertainty is what drives that rating down to an abysmal level, which is bullshit, because I don't give a fuck if it's McCord or Brown. By the end of the season, they're going to be top 10 because their numbers are going to be insane regardless. It's the Ohio State offense, and that's that.
I'm sharing the graphic that I sent you guys with the crowd here on YouTube. So this is Phil Steele's Big Ten rankings of each position group nationally. So he has Ohio State 43rd, the quarterback group, but Maryland is 17th. Wisconsin's 35th.
Is Talia still there?
Yeah.
Is Talia? Oh my God.
That's why they're 17th.
Well, but I mean, that's why it's all about, okay, the guys that have minutes, guys that have tape.
What have you seen?
And so again, I'll lay any bet that anyone wants to make that by the end of the year, if you think that we've got the 46th best quarterback room, I'll take that bet.
Oh, fuck yeah.
For however much you want.
Right.
I'll put up my beachfront property in Arizona for it.
There you go. So anyway, that's a good point on the Phil Steele position scoring or
and he does a lot of in-depth. He does a lot of in-depth research. I know. He does talk.
He knows a lot. But
so he does a lot of in-depth research. Hold on, I'm calling bullshit on that. If he does a lot of in-depth research, how the fuck are we 46? Because there ain't no way that Devin Brown and Kyle McCord and Aaron Nolan coming in are 46.
Well, hey, I am sure that Phil Steele has contacts at Ohio State University and has talked to people within the program and gotten some answers off the record, of course. But how did he feel taken away from the, he visits a lot of these schools.
Well, that scares me even more, Jeff.
But that's what I'm saying. What did he hear? What did he hear? And why did he take away?
I think it's more about the retooled offensive line around him, around the starting quarterback.
But that's not what they're saying. They're talking. He's talking quarterback room.
I understand, but that's
quarterback
my guess.
Room versus offensive line and experience. I don't know.
Maybe Phil has not watched Ohio State football in the last 5 years.
No,
because otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. We're all in agreement there. It doesn't.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to running backs. Jeff, you want to kick it off with the running backs?
Is everybody healthy?
The whole team should be 100% healthy for camp August 1st. So go on that.
So I think when camp starts, I think Trey's 1, mine's 2. And I don't know. I don't know where you go after that. What's Chip up to? What's Chip doing? Is he staying in front of Dallin Hayden? And where is
Evan Pryor?
Evan Pryor. Where's Evan Pryor? Where's Evan Pryor going to be listed from day one? And how fast does he move?
Because I think he will move. For.
So right. So I don't know. We got 5. It's my 5.
So give me your 2 deep.
It's Trey. Trey's 1, mine's 2.
There you go. Shawn.
I'm gonna go Trey, and what are we doing here? I mean, week 1, probably mine, but no, I think Evan Pryor is gonna be the guy that solidifies that if he's healthy.
Evan
I
Pryor's going to be
think
what?
Evan Pryor.
Number 2?
Yeah, I think Evan Pryor will be too. I think Evan Pryor, after Trey potentially goes in the draft this year after a successful season, that Evan Pryor will be the guy next year.
So you're talking 2024 for that.
Yeah, but so I think he's the backup now, and next year he'll be the guy. So yeah, I'm going Trey, and then Evan Pryor. 1, 2.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
I'm going off the start of camp. Like, where are they starting out at? Day 1 of camp.
Yeah.
That's how I'm giving my
right.
thoughts.
Yeah, it's just
Mayan's earned his stuff.
I don't think Evan would get that 2 spot. I don't think he deserves it over mine. Or earned it.
I don't know. I
deserved
like,
it any way you want to slice it.
I don't know. Well, I'm with
if
you.
Only
I think
they would
actually
post the depth chart every day, Joe.
if
only every day they'd give us one of these, so we know if we're right or not.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Well, this is why we're
how do you see
speculating
it?
wildly.
How do you see it, Joe? I mean, starting camp. How do you see it?
Trey and Mayan in that order,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If everybody's healthy and it's a start, it's Trey.
It's because Trey has the higher ceiling. Trey has the game-breaking, big playability. Mayan really doesn't. Mayan is a hammer, and he can make chunk plays. He's not going to typically take it 75 yards.
Yeah, and he's in front of 3 other studs.
But nobody else is going to jump him. Nobody else is jumping those 2 guys in fall camp.
No, they're not. They're not jumping him. They're not jumping him in fall camp.
Yeah, that'd be a shock if Evan did jump up before the season started.
But they're not jumping him in fall camp. But
Dallin,
to me, Mayan is solidified his role, and he has his role at Ohio State, and that role to me is almost. It's the second running back. It doesn't matter if the first running back's Trey, if it's Pryor, if it's Hayden. Mayan's the number 2 guy. He's a little different skill set, and he's kind of solidified the number 2. I feel, even though I'm saying Evan Pryor or whatever, but no, Mayan Williams has carved out a role for himself. No matter who's running back 1.
Yep. Yeah, that's why their carries and their actual snaps are not going to be much different from each other, Trey and Mayan, in my opinion. I'm not saying they're going to be perfectly equal. Maybe Trey's is slightly more, with health, but they're going to be very close in snaps. I'm talking within 100 or 200 total snaps.
I think that's the safest bet you can make about this team this year. Because injuries are going to play a part. Those guys. I mean, they're showing. It's not like they're both going to. We're not going to get completely healthy years from the 2 of them in the same year. That is an oddity. You know what I mean?
The bigger question.
You can't see it happen. They're going to miss time. Hopefully, it's not all at the same time. Like last year.
The bigger question in that room to me is, who's transferring out? Because I feel there's going to be a transfer in that room. There's no way that there's not. And
after the season,
Mayan's
you got to let the season play out. There's nobody's
going to transfer in the fall, right? If they're all there through camp, they're not leaving.
I guess. So list off all of them. Who's on this thing to even consider? So we got
Chip,
Henderson, Mayan, Pryor, Hayden. What's his name?
Chip.
Linebacker. Train them.
Yep, 5 dudes.
And no true freshmen?
No, we didn't. Remember, we didn't bring anybody in 23 class.
Yeah.
That was
do we need it? That's
next week's
show. We can talk decommitment. We can talk. Yes, we can talk about Tony Alfred's last year's experience.
Well, maybe that's
be a whole show.
The greater design of the whole system. It's like they didn't need somebody because look, if you get another one, somebody's losing. We got enough dudes. And now we got our dude for the 2024 class.
We got 3.
Yeah. Which what you if
at least.
If you don't have one,
yeah.
If you don't get any, you got to get 3. That makes sense. I mean, it worked out. It ended up working out. If we hold on to these 3 and they commit and we're good. But You're right, Shawn. It just happens that we didn't actually. This is not a year we needed one where you wouldn't think all 5 would be injured, but
not that you weren't trying to get some of the top tier guys, but I don't think you'd take much of a reach with that
Tony,
type of room, because
Tony,
you're going to bring in a guy that's probably going to transfer out. He's like, well, what the fuck? You brought me in. There's Mount St. Everest.
And that's the thing is Tony Alford doesn't want more than 5 running backs in his room anyway. On scholarship, they got a couple walk-ons like TC Caffey and shit like that. But
yeah, right.
Typically, those guys are not going to see real reps unless, again, the room is decimated. We got to keep it moving here, though. Yep. Wide receivers. Jeff, you want to kick it off there? Give me your. Let's go with 2 deep. Give me your entire 2 deep.
Okay. Yeah. So Marv. That would be the X, Fleming, and Emeka, backing them up. And I don't know where these guys. I don't know where they've the freshmen and stuff. I'm not sure where they're slotted. So would Carnell Tate be behind in Fleming's spot or Harrison's?
Harrison.
Sorry, Harrison. Okay. So I think Carnell Tate has worked himself in the 2 deep. At start of camp. Hopefully this this issue, that who knows what that might do. The time away and stuff like that. Who knows? But I think they would. I think his performance in the spring would warrant that. You got Xavier Johnson. I think is number 2 behind Emeka, and behind Fleming, it's Jaden Ballard's spot. So I think Ballard's probably 2 there.
Yep. Okay.
Starting camp day 1, I think that's your depth chart.
Okay, Shawn, what do you think?
I'm just for the sake of speed, I'll agree. The only caveats that I'd put in there is, again, with Carnell Tate, thoughts with your brother, and you never know how someone's going to respond to that. And I hope it's positive in any way for him, whether that's on football or in life, whatever. But that's just a fucking devastating thing. So I'm with you. I got Carnell Tate there. I do think probably by again, we're talking day 1, but Ennis, I believe, is going to make his way in there. But before the end of the season, he's going to come at 2 deep.
Yeah.
And
don't disagree.
Ballard or X, or if Tate doesn't recover from this, I mean, I don't know, but Ennis is a dude, I think, and he will have early impact.
I'm not in the year 2 guys camp, actually. So like Kojo and Keon Gray's gonna have to show me something, get on the field somehow. But who the guy to watch is Noah Rogers. Noah Rogers is lurking out there, big dude, highly rated, played good, really good ball. He is an excellent outside receiver. He's like 6'2", so it's he would be probably in that Carnell Tate, Marvin Harrison world, and that's the guy to keep an eye on.
Kind of the lost man in this recruiting class because of Tate and Ennis.
Bryson Rogers.
No, I'm not saying Noah Rogers should ever be considered an afterthought, but Tate and Ennis got a lot of the attention in the recruitment and the ratings and that kind of stuff.
And
Noah got respect. Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, you're right, Joe. You're right. I'm
100% with you guys on that.
Keep an eye out. Number 80.
To me, he is the Marvin Harrison of that class. And he's a little bit, I mean, other than you knew the name, but Harrison came in as the 3rd or 4th rated receiver in the class that he was in, and obviously asserted his dominance. And Noah Rogers has a chance to do the same thing and could end up being the best one on the roster in a year or 2.
Yeah. Remember the number 80. All right, let's talk O-line. I know we don't need to spend a lot of time here. Start with the guards. Jeff, go ahead and you want to give me your starters and your backups?
Backups, huh? We definitely, I think if Donovan Jackson stays a guard, and they don't end up moving him to left tackle, he's our left guard. And I don't have clarity on whether VMI have they got guys at right guard and left guard, or are they just a swing guard? Because I would say VMI would be the third guard, the swing guy.
He could be
back up left
your,
hand,
or
right.
even your sixth man in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think he's that backup guard either way. Right guard. I don't know. Fryer at left tackle. His backup.
Wait a second. What do you got at your guard position? Who are your four?
I can't think right now with the right guard.
Donovan Jackson, Matthew Jones, starters.
Matthew Jones, starters.
Enoch, backup.
Enoch as a swing. Yeah. So Enoch is a swing guard. Bounce up the left tackle. Fryer. I'm might as well just flip a coin. I don't know who the backup.
You got Hinsman's more of a center. You got
I got Heinzman as my center. I got Heisman as the center.
Okay. Trey LaRue.
No, see, those guys are just so like that depth. Like I never pay attention to these names.
Dutant.
Dutant's they talked about him, but I don't know. It's the kid Collins we got the transfer from San Diego State. What's his name?
What?
The tackle.
Oh, Josh Simmons. Yeah, he's
Simmons. I think I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say day one of camp. Simmons is probably the backup right tackle. Who was the other tackle we had in the spring?
Well, Fryer is left.
Fryer's left. Yeah.
Nobody's really challenged him at all.
Tager was battling with who?
You had Zen and Tager
Zen
battling
Mikowski
for right. But then you brought in Josh Simmons.
So I think you go Mikowski starting right tackle day one with Simmons backing him up on the 2 deep.
Okay.
Matthew Jones, and then you got Enoch swinging guard.
And your center was Hinsman and who's behind
Max LeBlanc? Is Max playing
He's tight end.
He's a tight end. All right.
He's a 20.
I don't know the back. Honestly, Joe, I can't even think.
Probably Jacob James. Shawn, you want to pick up the pieces here?
Yeah. So basically, I'm gonna spare the listeners the fucking talking about second and third string linemen. Basically, to me,
I didn't want to talk about them. Joe's
basically to me right now. I feel in my mind we have three starting linemen: Josh Fryer, Donovan Jackson, Matt Jones. Everyone else, and I agree with your picks, like who the front runner would be for center and right tackle or whatnot. But to me, it's all super loose. I feel good about Fryer, Jackson, and Jones. I'm not super confident on anyone else, frankly. And so all those people that you mentioned, I think Enoch Lamahi will probably will be the swing guard type guy. Maybe that Cutler comes in and does something, that transfer. Tegra Shabola, I'd love to see him, take the next step. We'll see. But right now, I don't know. I'm anxious to see, because to me, it's the whole crucible crux of what this team can and will be is on this group. And right now, I'm not loving it, other than the three that I named. I just and I hope I'm disappointed, or not disappointed. I hope I'm wrong with my opinion. I hope they're all fucking all Americans, but
nobody knows how to talk about these people.
I don't know nothing about these guys.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm saying guards, Donovan Jackson, Matthew Jones. That's a given. That's a shoe in. No moving off of that. Backups, Enoch Vamahi, Tegra Shabola, the second-year guy. Tegra worked in at right tackle. I know that in the spring, but his natural position is at guard. Played it in high school a lot. I know he's 6'5", but you can play that at guard. Dude is like 340, so he's got a lot of weight on him. I don't see him at a need for him at tackle. So tackles, Josh Fryer, left tackle. Hasn't been anybody questioning that. Nobody's even competed with him for that job. So it's his. Now, right tackle.
Does that concern you though, that there's not a Paris Johnson or somebody that does? I mean,
no, because
I feel like Fryer does have it. I feel like Fryer does have it locked up, but I feel like he's got it almost locked up by default. Like there's not a fucking Paris Johnson, or who was our guy before that I'm blanking on. And some of these other guys, I am not as high, I got to say, on Josh Fryer as I have been our last 4 left tackles.
Well, I'll tell you what reassures me is his 4th year in the program. He redshirted. He's the fact that nobody else has even been a challenger does not make me worry about that. I think there are worthy guys that could push him.
Are there?
Not Grant Toutant, not Trey LaRue, not those guys. Not those guys. I said not those guys.
I agree, Joe. I do agree.
If he were a question mark, they would have repped other dudes with the ones.
But what if the other dudes, because we're having a hard time making a fucking 2 deep on O-line. What if the other dudes, it's not that Josh Fryer's got it locked up. We don't have any other dudes that can take the spot from him.
By default, then he gets the job.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem making a 2 deep. I can make a 2 deep here. I can finish it off here. Right tackle, I got a fall competition for the first couple of weeks of fall camp. Josh Simmons, the transfer in from San Diego State, and Zen Michalski. The winner takes the fucking starting job. Loser takes the backup job. Then at left tackle, I got George Fitzpatrick backing up Fryer.
I thought before the transfer, weren't we all kind of, at least penciling in Michalski for that spot?
Well, he was going back and forth with Tegra in spring. And Tegra could play tackle. He has played both. I know that. But his natural position, in my opinion, is guard. Zen Michalski's is tackle. I think it's just a better fit. Now, I'm willing to move off of that if Zen totally shits the bed and Tegra looks like $1 million in there. But again, Josh Simmons has the most experience of anybody at these tackle positions, and he's a transfer. He's played 12 or 13 games.
And a good, strong relationship with the coach, too.
Right. But he started and played 12 to 13 games. I realize it's San Diego State, but Fryer has like 1 start in his career. Zen, obviously, 0 starts. So that's why I'm leaning right tackle, Simmons versus Michalski. Probably Simmons wins that job. And Fitzpatrick, like I said, probably backs up Fryer. We'll see how the 2 deep works out, but that's what I got going into camp. And then we got tight ends. We run a lot of. Go ahead.
Well, that group that you just mentioned, if they're not extremely good and people take huge steps forward, we're like, oh my gosh, we didn't see this. Josh Simmons or Tegra is like a fucking all-American caliber dude. If something like that doesn't happen on that O-line, we're not going to go as far as we want to. Well, that needs to happen.
Yes, this fall and this entire year has been a huge referendum on Justin Fry. How is his development? How is his coaching? I know he's a decent recruiter, good recruiter. He hasn't landed a 5-star yet, but that's to be determined. It's only been a year and a half. But can he develop what he has into a Ohio State level starting O-line? Last year he was gifted Dwan Jones, Paris Johnson Jr., and Luke Whippler at center. Okay, he didn't recruit that. He didn't really have to develop it much either. Maybe tweak it, but let's see. Let's let Justin Fry prove himself here in this offseason. I'm giving him a shot because he's one of the best O-linemen, best O-line coaches in the country.
for sure. I'm not knocking the dude either. I'm not knocking the guy at all. He does deserve it. He does deserve it.
Why do you say he's the best in the country or among?
He's talked about that way.
What he's done previously. That's what other coaches say about him. That's probably more important to me is what other coaches in the business think about him.
All right. I'm just trying to get it, because we get the scarlet glasses on. Oh, he's the best. He's the best. The best. Why? Why is he the best?
He is very highly respected, Shawn. I have heard. Yeah, there's a lot of people, a lot of big names in college football that if they know him, they've made some really nice comments about him. So I mean, it sounds like he's respected. Like he does shit the right way. Made a lot of good contacts, probably. Maybe he just knows how to talk to people. Who knows?
Yeah, well, he's got a ton of experience too, not just with shit teams. Like started out at Temple. He worked with Ryan Day at Temple, UCLA with Chip Kelly. So I know it sounds like maybe he was just handed off from Chip Kelly to Ryan Day because they're buddies. It's not the case. So I'm good. How was
UCLA's running game and pass protection?
Shawn, I don't have that.
I mean, to me, that's what I mean. People like, no, he's a great guy. Like Jeff said, oh yeah, he can talk to people. Everyone likes him, and he can get the job done recruiting, and he's charismatic. But can he coach?
UCLA's offense when they got Charbonnet, the transfer from Michigan, and the fucking quarterback they had, he's not a big pro quarterback, but he was electric. They put up numbers. Charbonnet had a great rushing year.
Yeah, Charbonnet did. Was certainly
Charbonnet. Oh yeah. But I think Chip Kelly's offenses, UCLA's offenses were up there. Now, how does that relate to what the offensive line? They couldn't have been like nightmarish, like fucking.
Well, what I like about it just from Chip Kelly is you're not going to be a fucking moron running that O-line. You're going to know and be involved, and it's going to be complex and it's going to be detailed. And so, I mean, I'll give you that. I mean, I like that.
So quickly, I got a few stats for you. And he coached 4 years at UCLA before coming here. 2021, they ranked 14th nationally with an average of 215 rushing yards per game. 2020, they averaged 230 rushing per game. That was 12th in the country. So, averaging more than 200 yards per game that season was only the 4th and 5th times in UCLA history since 1990. Okay, I don't care. 2020, their yards per carry per rush was 5.1. So
that works.
Good quality running games, I would say, if that's your measuring stick.
If a running game is 200 yards a game, that's
I thought that was the average in the Pac fucking 10. It's not SEC football.
No, it's not. That's true. And thank you for pointing that out. Tight ends. I'm going Cade Stover, Joe Royer, but we do run a lot of 12 personnel. We're going to lean heavy, I think, a little bit in the first few weeks on the rushing attack. So expect to see a lot of 12 personnel. I got G. Scott Jr. in as my third tight end. And I got a hard time with Sam Hart and Bennett Christian. Haven't seen a thing from these guys.
So how would we know? How would we even guess?
Well, I'm going Jelani Thurman, the true freshman, because he's already up to like 265. Dude is a monster.
Jesus.
He was practicing with the Buckeyes at their bowl practices in Atlanta for the Peach Bowl. Was already enrolled, came in early, much earlier than most. So Jelani is a big dude. I think he is a freaky big target, especially in short yardage, red zone, whatever. Just put it up there and let him go get it. Let him box out a linebacker or a safety, whoever. And so that's my top four. Again, you're going to see a lot of 12 personnel from the Buckeyes as always. Shawn, you want to touch on that?
Well, of course, it's Kate Stover, no doubt, tight end 1. And then to me, it's a little weird from there. Kate Stover, to me, can kind of do a little bit of everything. So I feel like he's going to get probably even more than years past. I feel like Kate Stover is going to have a big time play count compared to the guys behind him. Behind him, I think in passing downs, I like what you're saying about this new guy, the Jelani, but I got to go with my guy, Gee Scott. I just feel like if this offensive line can protect and can do some dynamic things, I think you'll see Gee Scott out there a little bit more as a problem for linebackers to be able to cover this dude. I think when you get into, your goal line short yardage, you're bringing in, your 12-man set. Joe Royer's going to be the hammer there, I think, in my view. But I don't know much about this Jelani Thurman, but the way you talk about it, Joe, you get me a little excited.
I love getting you excited, Shawn. Well, his dad was a linebacker in the NFL for a decade or so. His mom was a WNBA player. So he's got the length, the poundage, and the size, and the athleticism.
Well, let's see it. I mean, I hope we're having a conversation a year from now where Jelani's number 1 guaranteed. He's our guy. He can do it all.
Yep, that's some good quality breeding right there. Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
Large family breeding, right?
But all right, I think that should wrap her up. We went a little longer than I was hoping, so we will hold off on the positionless defense conversation till we can get Shawn in here and discuss it in a more open setting where we have plenty of time to work with. I don't want to shoehorn it into the last 3 minutes, but so Shawn, we'll try and address that topic this week, probably, or next Sunday, whatever works for you, because I'm interested in your thoughts. I have mine, but that is a good topic for the off-season discussion.
On what in particular? The defense?
The positionless defense.
Oh, yeah, because I do have. I don't know what you guys talked about it or whatever.
We didn't know. We were saving that till we had time to really get into it.
Yeah, because I think it's an interesting concept, to spitball, and there's some validity and some. I don't know. I have kind of points both ways, contrarian and pro. So
okay, yeah, I want to give it plenty of space, so we're not, running right against it. So. Anyway, chat, appreciate you guys. Billy, Hummus Hero, Temper, always here. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Bilal, yes, we did talk about quarterbacks way like a half hour ago. So appreciate everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Rush Hour Live, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Pop in there. Appreciate everybody.
Boy.
That's right. Talk to you later. Go Bucks.
Later, bro.